Depression. The research is saying that depression is potentially life-threatening disorder. It can occur at any time from early childhood right up to old age. Beware. I've coached people with major depression, suicidal ideation, suicidal thoughts, attempts at suicide, and I'm here to help you hopefully avoid all of that. Number one thing to look out for, and no particular order with these, is if you see or notice yourself, see others or noticing yourself withdrawing from social activities, such as isolation. Now, if we rewind back for a moment to COVID-19, the pandemic, I know that's not a word perhaps you like to hear, but remember that you or somebody you got in touch with after or even in the middle of it all was isolated. This is what we want to avoid with people. Now, depression often leads individuals to withdraw from friends and family. There's a deeper sense of worthlessness at play here, so they don't want to share this, and they know that they are giving out bad communication in some ways, or feel they do at least. They may also withdraw or isolate themselves from social activities that they once enjoyed. For example, if they liked sport, if they liked going to concerts, they're big things, but it might be just more regular things such as a Monday, Tuesday night event, like going bowling. Now, this isolation can exacerbate the feelings of loneliness and sadness. So even though they know perhaps at times, some of them, that they are isolating themselves, they're consciously doing it and in doing so, they're multiplying the event and multiplying this social withdrawal and isolation, which will eventually, in part, lead to the depression that we're talking about now. People or you may have avoidance. Now, avoidance is a social interactions that are already there that you're avoiding due to, say, feeling overwhelmed or not wanting to put the pressure or your burden on others with their problems. Now, you might have, or a person you know that you may be looking at thinking, do they have depression? Are they depressed in some way? They might actually have problems that you are not aware of. Similarly, you yourself, if you're watching this, and please do seek a medical doctor if you require this, if you're wondering about yourself. But if you're watching this and you're thinking about depression and am I depressed, maybe you have things that you're so muddled, you're so stressed in other ways that there's one problem or two or three or maybe a whole host of what you view and perceive, that's a golden word right here, is such a wealth of problems that you cannot sort them through. Now, if that's the case, you make sure that when that stress comes off, you can see things much clearer. That perspective is cleaned. It's like a muggy glass in your car when you're looking through the rear view mirror with two mirrors and a lot of fog on the back window, a lot of mist or something like that, and you get it scrubbed through and you actually see it, and the glass is as clear glass as you would have on glasses that you're just after buying from an optician's. So that's when you see things much clearer. Want to make sure that there is a qualified person helping you out to see this. Losing interest in hobbies and activities is also another one. Now, we as human beings are wired to want to spend time with people. We're wired to want to have interests in specific things. When we're very small, we perhaps are brought to clubs, or we realize that we'd like a certain sport or a certain music or a certain actor or some activity, and then we bump into people that have a similar interest. It's normal human interaction. But if you cut yourself off or you're actually not interested in it, you must replace that with something that is just whetting your curiosity. If it does, that's a wonderful thing, because then your brain is developing. But if there's nothing replacing the old stuff that you once went at or to, or the people you interacted with, and perhaps there's no negativity with them, that's when you're making sure that you're on a bad road. And if we're doing all the previous things that we spoke about, that's where depression is going to seep through. If you are feeling, hey, I'm a bit tired, and guess what? I'm going to bed at the same time, or indeed, I'm going to bed regularly at the same time, and I just can't sleep. Or, and this is the one thing that people don't always speak about, but if you're going to bed early and you're tired and you're wearing yourself out, like the battery is wearing down, and you're going to bed, like the health practitioners often say, nice and early and sleeping before 12 and all of that, sleeping deeply, but you're waking up consistently earlier and earlier, that's also a sign of the experience of sleep patterns changing. So it doesn't necessarily have to be going to bed early. It can be extra early, you're waking up and you just cannot sleep after that. Or indeed this insomnia throughout the night as well. Difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, or waking up when you're just not used to this. There's a general change in the patterns of your sleeping patterns throughout your life. And if you are unaware of this, you may get hyper insomnia. And this is where some individuals may sleep excessively as well on the other side of things, as a way to escape their feelings. So they're pushing things back. They're using sleep almost like food and watching copious amounts of television and shows just so you can escape from your reality. If you're changing your appetite, for example, or your weight with that, there's an increased appetite, or indeed on the other side of things, a decrease in your appetite. And you can begin to see the regularity in what I'm saying here with the sleep and the appetite. If things are wavering one side or the other, and what is sleep and what is appetite? Essentially, these are your basic human needs that we all need. If we're, guess what, drinking too much alcohol, even though we have drank maybe socially before, and suddenly we start leaning on that, using it as a crutch. This is the same way with our sleep and with our weight gain. If we're increasing or pushing ourselves to eat more regularly, or perhaps take an intake of new foods that we know are not best serving us, and suddenly we get a little bit, or what we think is like an addiction towards that, we are losing our basic control of our most specific and infinite ways to survive. That's not expression, that's depression for us. All these things, the fuel of food and of sleep, is giving us an ability to concentrate. We talk about passions, almost the opposite of depression, right? If we are not concentrating, and we should be it in work or in study and so on, then our cognition is impaired. We may have depression from our cognitive functions, difficulty in remembering things, and this then gives us more bother, gives us more stress. And with that, every day we're falling behind in our work, and we're getting more stress, and we're depressed. And these are negative things, not allowing us then to make the correct decisions, which is another thing where our frontal cortex of our brain is hyper-connected towards. It's the executive, it's the leader, it's pulling us along from day to day. And if we're just doing that and we're going around in circles after a while, then we realize, gosh, one negative thought brings us back and decreases us, and we feel, hey, I'm going nowhere. What am I doing here? And then you question your value and worth. If you're experiencing feelings of hopelessness and worthlessness, or negative thought patterns, say a persistence in this, even if it's just your perspective, like we said before, even guilt towards certain things. Hey, I didn't go to the particular event. My friend knows I go there annually. I should have gone. I could have gone. I knew before that. I should have, could have, but didn't. Once it's over, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, and you kind of go, I'm not going to contact them. See how this all links in together, where there's a knock-on effect, and the circle keeps going round and round, and it's almost like a downward spiral towards that depression without any clear reason, because your reasoning, again, the frontal cortex is hampered by the fact that your control there is waning through a variation of things. So this is where we really need medical help for sure. If you're engaging in self-destructive behaviours such as self-harm, I mentioned alcohol abuse, or it could be substance abuse too, these are not healthy. Look, we hear the word recreational drugs, for example, and there's millions of people out there that say, oh, just take it now and then. Look, drugs are bad. But the word recreational crept in because people thought, well, it's like going for a run. I'm not a big runner. I do cycling for exercise, or I swim, or do something else. But I do a run now and then on a nice day. Recreationally, I don't do drugs, but now and then. Or some people say, oh, I'm a social smoker or social drinker. So that's it, giving a sense of control to a person. But if you're actually self-harming yourself and substance abuse, game over. That's when we are in depression. So we need to be able to snap out of it and go to good people that will help us. If you're feeling fatigued or lethargic, there's chronic fatigue. This could be a lot of tiredness. We mentioned the sleep earlier on, a lack of energy. That's where the food comes in as well. And eating at the right times is so important. this will lead then to lethargy, and having this sense means that you cannot feel responsible and honest and authentic within your own efforts to do your daily chores and to go forward in life and to grow in whatever area you want, in your hobbies, with your money, with your job, and your relationships and your health and so on. Lastly, if you have physical symptoms, aches and pains, this can be because you are somewhere up here blocking it, and that's huge strength. You'll need that strength to overcome the depression. But if your body is feeling it, it has to come out somewhere at some stage. So make sure you go to somebody. I hope indeed this has helped you and will help others in time too. Thank you for watching. And if you've enjoyed, watch more.